Viraj Govda and Jayamma are farmers. They live in Hosanagar and village in South Karnataka. On the midnight of September 3rd, 2012, Monday, they were waiting for a phone call from some 5,000 miles away. The phone call came. Their son's voice said, "Amma, I have won silver." Their joy knew so bound. H.N. Girisha had won the silver medal in Paralympics in London earlier that night. An 18,000 capacity crowd, some 2,000 Indians among them, had cheered him. The 24-year-old young man had clearly at height of 1.74 using the scissors technique in men's high jump. Girisha was born with an impairment in his leg. In this story, a 17 years old boy clears the bar that is set at 17 feet 6.5 inches and gets the first place. But true height refers to another kind of height, his whole personality. His palms were sweating, a glass of ice water, his thirst but hardly cooled his intensity. The turf he sat on was as hot as the competition he faced today at the National Junior Olympics. The bar was set at 17 feet. The was 3 inches higher than his personal best. Michael Stone confronted the most challenging day of his pole vaulting career. The stand was still filled with about 20,000 people even though the final race had ended an hour earlier. The pole vault is truly the glamour event of any track and field competition. The sportsman combines the grace of a gymnast with the strength of a bodybuilder. Pole vaulting also has an element of flying, and the thought of flying as high as 2-story building in a merry fantasy to anyone watching such an event. That day is not only Marshall Stone's reality and dream, it is his quest. Third, as long as Marshall could remember, he had always dreamed of flying. Marshall's mother read him numerous stories about flying when he was growing up. Her excitement and passion for details made Marshall's dream full of color and beauty. He would the running down a country road. He could feel down the golden lined wheat fields. He would always outrun the locomotive passing by. He would be soaring like an eagle. Where he flew would always confined with his mother's story. His dad, on the other hand, was not a dreamer. Stone was a realist. He believed in the hard work and sweat. Fourth, from the age of 14, Marshall did just that. He began a very careful and remained weightlifting program. He worked out every day with weight, did running work alternate days. There was closely monitored by Marshall's coach and father. Marshall's dedication determines discipline was a coach's dream. Beside being an honor student, Marshall continued to help his parents with their farm chores. His persistence in striving for perfection was not only his ambition but also his passion. Mill-fired Stone, Marshall's mother, wished that he could relax a bit more and be that free dreaming little boy. Sixth, all Marshall's values today seem to be the reward of his hard work. He cleared the bar at 17 feet 2 inches and 17 feet 4 inches and became one of the final 2 competitors in the pole vaulting event at the National Junior Olympic. Constant preparation and determination were his strength as he lay on his back and heard the crowd groan. He knew the other vaulter had missed his final jump. He knew it was time for his final jump since the over vaulter had fewer miss. Marshall needed to clear this wall to win. A miss would get him second place, nothing to be ashamed of, but Marshall would not allow himself the thought of not winning the first place. He rolled over and did his ritual push ups. He founded his poles, stood up, and stepped on the runway. That the old life, the runway felt different this time. It started him for a brief moment. The bar was set at 9 inches higher than his personal best. That's only one inches of the national record. He thought the intensity of that moment filled his mind with anxiety. He began shaking off the tension from his body. It wasn't working. He became more tense. He became to get nervous. He had never experienced such feeling before. Then out of now and from the despite depths of his soul, he thought of his mother. Why now? What was his mother doing in his thoughts at a time like this? It was simple. It was simple. His mother always used to tell him to take deep breaths when he felt tense or even scared. So he did, along with shaking the tense from his legs. He gently laid his pole at his feet. He stretched out his arms and upper body. The light breeze that was once there was now gone. He could felt a trickle of cold sweat running down his back. He carefully picked up his pole. He felt his heart pounding. He was sure the crowd did do. The silence was deafening when he heard the singing of some distant robins in flight. He knew it was her time to fly. As he began spiriting down the runway, something felt wandering, different yet familiar. The surface below him felt like the country road to use to dream about. The rock and chunks of dirt, the vision of the golden wheat fields to fill his thought. When he took a deep breath, it happened. He began to fly. His takeoff was effort. Milestone was now flying just like in his childhood dreams. But this was real. Everything was moving in slow motion. The air around him was the purest and fresh he had ever seen. Marshall was soaring with the majesty of an eagle. It was either the eruption from the people in the stand or the thumbs of his landing that thoughts Marshall back to earth. On his back, what that wonderful hot sun on his face. He could only imagine the smile on his mother's face and his dad's laughter. What he didn't know was as his dad was hugging his wife and crying harder than Milfred had even seen before, stretching tears of pride. Marshall was immediately swayed by people hugging and congratulating him on the greatest accomplishment of his life. He later went to clear 17 feet 6.5 inches that day, a national and international junior Olympics record, with all the media attention and heartfelt congratulations. Marshall's life will never be the same. It wasn't just because he had won the National Junior Olympics and set a new world record, and it wasn't because he had just increased his personal best by 9.5 inches. It was simply because Marshall Stone was blind.